What's up, guys? This is Derek House with the Protein Chef, and if you love coffee as much as me, you're gonna love this cold brew coffee recipe. It's quick, will last you the whole week, and take your coffee taste buds to another level. So let's jump right into it. First, 4 reasons why you should cold brew. 1, no more watered down coffee. 2, it tastes absolutely delicious. 3, since hot water isn't being used, the oils that are full of acid aren't going to be fully released into the coffee, which makes cold brew 60 to 65% less acidic. And 4, it's extremely easy to make in bulk. With that said, before we start, you're gonna need a few items. These items can collectively be found for around $50 and should last you forever. Item number 1, a liquid container. Your container can just be something you have lying around, or if you're like me, you'll want something specifically for this recipe. This 1-gallon jar that you see here, I found for $7 online. Whatever size container you want to use is completely up to you. I find that 1 gallon is the perfect size to last me a couple weeks. If you don't have a container this big, don't worry, you'll be able to scale this recipe however you want to, depending on how much you want to brew at a time. Item number 2, a burr grinder. This manual burr grinder here was $28 online, and though it takes me a bit longer than an electric grinder, it's a boatload cheaper, much more portable, and you burn some calories using it. The reason we're using a burr grinder over a blade grinder is very simple. A burr grinder is a nice consistent grind, whereas a blade grinder is not. A blade grinder, for the most part, has no adjustability. It's gonna grind some of your grounds into a powder and others in larger pieces. Basically, a blade grinder is like throwing in a bunch of random protein powder into a shake, and a burr grinder is using your favorite brand. A burr grinder is gonna extract the most flavor. Item number 3, a filter. This filter here is a reusable all-purpose strainer bag that I picked up for $9 online. This bag allows me to put my ground coffee into it and then into my jar, thus making things much quicker and clean up a breeze. You could also use a cheesecloth, t-shirt, and so on. Just think outside the box. And last, number 4, coffee. You can use either whole beans or ground coffee. Seeing that I'm suggesting you purchase a burr grinder above, I'm obviously partial to using whole beans. Using ground coffee is gonna be much quicker and more convenient, but you're gonna be compromising the taste a ton. You might be asking why I prefer whole bean over ground, and the simple answer is that whole bean is gonna be much fresher. As soon as coffee is ground, it starts to go stale, so grinding the beans yourself will give you a nice, fresh, beautiful flavor. You can purchase any of these items by clicking right there, or their links in the description below. Now let's start this process. Take out your digital kitchen scale, and if you're making 1 gallon at a time, then weigh out 8 ounces or 227 grams of whole beans. You can make more or less by pausing your screen right now and using one of the other ratios you see in the pop-up. If you don't have a digital kitchen scale, the one I'm using only costs around $25 shipped, and it's one of the best investments you can make for your kitchen. Once you've weighed out your whole beans, use your burr grinder to grind them up. The whole grinding process shouldn't take longer than 5 to 10 minutes. Next, add your fresh ground coffee into your strainer bag, put your bag into your jar, and pour 1 gallon or 128 ounces of water into your jar, making sure the end of your bag sticks out a little bit so that your grounds don't fall out into your water. Let your coffee brew for 14 to 16 hours. After 14 to 16 hours, remove your ground coffee by filtering it, or if you used a bag like me, just pull your bag out while making sure to remove as much liquid as you can from it.
What we do here is go back.
Distribute your cold brew into some bottles for easy access to take with you on the go, or just leave it in your jar and serve it whenever you want it. And there is your cold brew. A couple tips. 1, you can have flavored cold brew multiple ways. First, by using flavored roasts, but keep in mind, lighter roasts typically have more acidity. I personally prefer darker roasts. 2, by putting in extracts like vanilla, raspberry, coconut, chocolate, etc. into your brew. 3, by adding in vanilla bean, mint leaves, nuts, etc. into your ground coffee. And 4, of course, you can always add in sweeteners or syrups after you brew it to each individual coffee. That's my personal favorite right there. Tip number 2, don't brew it for too long or it'll start to go bitter. In my opinion, brewing it for 14 to 16 hours is optimal. 3, you don't have to brew it in the fridge. You can brew it on the countertop. Brewing it in the fridge will just give you a nice cold cup of coffee in the morning. 4, the brew will stay fresh for around 2 to 3 weeks, so don't be scared to make a ton of it at a time. And 5, there's a ton of variables here, but my estimate for the caffeine content is around 100 to 125 milligrams of caffeine per 8 ounces. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you like coffee as much as I do, smack that thumbs up button, everything in moderation, and of course, stay healthy.